In this video, we're going to talk about your score report for the Structure of Intellect test and how to understand some of the results that it's got. Basically, we're just going to start with the first 2 pages and the 2 main things that I want to take a look at. So on the first page, we've got the box that has all of these black bars. This is the individual results for each of the 27 activities. Those activities came out of this test booklet. We're going to talk more about what this means, but basically page 1 is the breakdown of each of the individual tests. Page 2 on the back is a combination of different blends of the 27 skills. And again, we're going to talk about that in more detail, but this gives you a combination view and a blended view and a different way to understand if we combine and group these 27 skills in different ways, how are the averages of those abilities? That's on the back. So anyway, we're going to start with the front. So you will notice that here on the front, we have got these 3-digit codes that go all the way down the side. All these 3-digit codes, 3-letter codes. And the 3-letter codes correspond to the 3-letter codes that were in the test booklet. You may or may not still have this, but you can go back through and see that, for example, CSS here corresponds to the 3-digit code, sorry, 3-digit, I keep saying 3-digit. The 3-letter code is over here and identifies each of those types of skills. At the bottom, you will see that we have got stay-nines. And the stay-nines go from 1 to 9. And the stay-nines also, at the top, go from low to average to high. So basically, the low range is stay-nine 1, 2, and 3. This is a kind of warning zone. So if you see black bars or results that are in stay-nines 1, 2, or 3, it's a warning that we want to pay attention to, because probably those kinds of activities were really tough for you. Maybe you sat looking at the test booklet, trying to think of the answer, working really hard, trying to figure it out, and nothing happened as a result of that. Or maybe you only got a couple of them right. If you see results that are in the average range, that's 5, 6, and 4, 5, and 6 is the average range. So in that average, it means that you're pretty capable. Doing that kind of activity is pretty easy for you, and you get the answer right. So it may not be super easy, but it's also not super difficult. You're just sort of in the middle with that. If you see black bars or results that are in stay-nine 7, 8, or 9, that means that this is something that's really easy for you. In fact, those activities might have felt effortless, and maybe when you were doing them, they even felt fun. So typically in that stay-nine range, people are showing their talents and the things that are really, really easy for them. So basically, if you see any stay-nines or results that are in the high range, 7, 8, or 9, congratulations. That is definitely a reason why you're so successful today. You're using those skills regularly, probably, and those things are really easy for you, and they contribute to your success, whether you're learning or whether you're working. If you see stay-nines that are in 4, 5, or 6, that means, again, congratulations, you already have the ability, and if you want to, you can increase that so that it gets even easier, even better, and you're even stronger in that area. Now, if you see things that are in the low range, 1, 2, or 3, don't worry about that. First of all, I've been there. I have things that are in that stay-nine range, so I know how it feels to see that. It's not easy to see those things. But if you remember, and a comprehension skill about understanding something, memory, evaluating, problem solving, or creativity, it's possible to improve in all of these areas. So for example, let's say here, like this person took this test and got a cautionary score in CFT. So, right, so the CFT score is in Steinine 2 over there. So Structure of Intellect actually has got workbooks that correspond to that type of thing. So here you can see the same code, CFT, and there's activities that go with that to help you build those skills. And by focusing regularly a few times a week and doing those activities and repeating them, you can actually strengthen the skills that are related to that area. So every skill, every one of these types of things has got a workbook, actually a series of workbooks. There's like a really basic one that helps you if you're in the cautionary low range. There's intermediate level ones that help if you're average. And then there are things that move you towards the high advanced gifted range in that area. So there's workbook series for each of these areas that can help you build steps so that your brain can get better. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of the front of the page. The only other thing I wanted to say about this, you may notice that these have been grouped into things that are related to figural abilities, right? You'll see there's that little gray line dividing the page, and those are the figural skills. Down further, you'll see that there's another line that crosses the page down here, and this separates it into the symbolic skills. And then finally down at the bottom, we've got the semantic abilities. Okay, so like I said, that's the individual breakdown. And it's useful to see each one separately, but it's also really important to have a different view of them and some different interpretations. So that's why the back of the page has got different results blended into combinations that help us think differently about what all of this means. So, So what I would suggest, if you've got like a pen and a little ruler, I want to suggest that you come onto the back of this and with me draw a line under the first three, because here we've got figural, symbolic, and semantic. So see, I'm assuming that you've got your little pen thing and you're going to actually do it with me. But what I want to suggest that you do is draw this line like across here, like I just did. So basically we're separating the information so that we can see figural, spatial, and figural, symbolic, and semantic. Now, this is the average of all of the figural activities like that we saw on the front. If we take the averages of all of those and we crunch the numbers for it, what's the average figural score? And if we take all of the symbolic activities off the front of the page and we crunch the numbers, what's the average of that? And the same for semantic. If you remember, I talked about a video that is specific just about figural, symbolic, and semantic. You may want to go back and watch that. I would definitely suggest that you review that video. Now that you've got the results of your test, it would be a really, really, really good idea to watch that again so that you can think about the information. Because the first time you watched it, it was just general. It could have been about anybody. But now when you watch it, it's about you. So it's really important to go through that again. Okay. So now what I've done is divide the page and the skills into the comprehension, the memory, evaluation, problem solving, and creativity. Okay, and the reason that we want to separate these out is because, again, I made this other video that talks about comprehension skills or understanding, how important it is to understand information, how important it is to memorize and remember information, the third brain activity of evaluating, the fourth brain activity of problem solving, and the fifth brain activity of being creative. So this again is another way to think about the averages. So if we take all of the different individual activities that are related to memory and we take the average of those memory tests, you can see how your memory is here. Likewise with the comprehension, if we take all the tests that are about comprehending or understanding and we average those together, we can see an average score for comprehension. So again, the stanines that are happening down here, it's the same kind of thing. You know, if you're seeing the low range, 1, 2, or 3, that means that it's really important to focus on that. And one of the reasons why you may be struggling with studying, passing a test, or working in a normal day-to-day capacity could be very connected to those skills. And so if you strengthen that, life, work, and studying can get easier. At the bottom down here, you've got different areas that are related to traditional schooling. So we've got like arithmetic, math, reading, reading readiness, and reading concepts. So if you're going to school, that gives you another way to think about what your strengths are. But we're really just going to focus on these up here right now. Okay. So do you want to change the low areas? If anything is in stanine 1, 2, or 3, do you want to improve that? And if you have things that are in the average range, 4, 5, and 6, do you want to move those into the high range or the gifted range? It can definitely help to make studying and working easier. The higher those numbers are, the easier life is to deal with and to cope with. The easier it is to work and understand what's going on, remember things that are going on around you, remember information, make good decisions, evaluate things carefully, solve problems, and also be creative. So